This is part of the maze of volcanic rock that's known as Hanging Rock in the state of Victoria. And in 1900, on St. Valentine's Day, a party of schoolgirls from a very European-type school are supposed to have come here for a picnic, for their annual school picnic. Some of them decided to break away from the main picnic party and climb and explore Hanging Rock. Some of them disappeared, some never to return.
What we see and what we seem are but a dream within a dream. Look, not down at the ground, Edith, way up there in the sky. Why can't we just sit on this log and look at the ugly old rock from here? It's nasty here. I never thought it would be so nasty, or I wouldn't have come. Miranda! Miranda! Miranda, don't go up there! Come back!
All the mystery, the sense of evil, the feeling of evil that pervades this place, the uniqueness of this area has been captured in a book by Joan Lindsay, Picnic at Hanging Rock. That book has now been made into a film directed by Peter Weir.
Miranda, I feel awful. Really awful. Oh. Miranda, I feel perfectly awful. When are we going home? When are we going home? Miranda? Miranda? Miranda! Miranda, don't go up there! Come back!
Reading the book for the first time, I found, as others have found, that I couldn't put it down. It was irresistible reading. Particularly reading it late at night, tremendous atmosphere. I think because it's a great mystery. And like most people, I love great mysteries. I've always loved the story of the Marie Celeste, of Jack the Ripper, to name two. As a matter of fact, when I was a very small child, I thought that when I died and went to heaven, I would ask God what happened on the Marie Celeste. And I'll probably ask him what happened on Hanging Rock. So the mystery aspect immediately enthralled me. In addition to that, it was the unease, the tremendous unease that the book created. it's in my line of work. It's the sort of films I've done in the past deal with this sort of thing. And so I began to look for what caused that unease. And I think that is directly linked to something which doesn't have all the answers supplied. And that's what intrigued me about her book. It answered enough questions to satisfy and posed enough to intrigue. You can imagine after reading the book, I couldn't wait to get to the rock to see if it was as good as it read or whether she'd embellished it. And it was as good. Everyone reacts a little differently. For me, it was somehow like a man-made fortification almost. It was as if it was once a ruin, as though it had been a citadel of some ancient peoples. And that impression remained with me. And I think in certain lights on the rock, you can see faces, you can see turrets, you can see towers, you can see walls. It is like a kind of city in the middle of a plain. And I've tried to get some of that feeling into the film. It was very unnerving meeting Joan Lindsay on the set. I'd met her obviously a number of times beforehand, but to have her right there on the day I was filming with her very characters stepping off the pages of a book, I was most anxious to see her reaction. And she was pleased. I hope she'll be as pleased with the film.
Joan, how does it feel to be back at Hanging Rock after all these years?
Well, it really feels pretty wonderful, but rather spooky. And I'm glad it does, because that feeling of the rock, I could feel it before I got out of the car.
How old were you? Can you remember when you first saw the rock?
Oh, I was very young. I didn't see it in 1900, I may say, but not all that long after. I think I was about 3 when I first saw it, and it made this extraordinary impression on me. And then I saw it last about 5 years ago, I think, before it had been so much built over as it is now. But it's still got the same magic to me, thank God.
No one, I think, who visits that place can remain unaffected by the power of it.
It doesn't welcome us, does it? You wouldn't say it was a welcoming place. But it obsessed me, it really did, without putting on any sort of an act. I used to lie awake at night thinking of it so clearly, and I just saw it all passing before my eyes, like usually lying in bed at night. When I woke up in the morning, I knew exactly what the next bit was going to be. I never had any trouble about what was going to happen, I just knew.
For over 100 years, Victorians have gathered at the Hanging Rock racetrack for the annual New Year's Day race meeting. Race horses are still trained in the shadow of the rock. Joan Lindsay spent much time as a child in the Macedon area near Hanging Rock. Many of the places she mentions in the book are based on homes she visited in the area. The Colonel's House, Lakeview, for instance. A local girls' school still has its annual Valentine's Day picnic at Hanging Rock. A monument to 3 lost children in the district in 1867 seems to foreshadow the events of 1900. Jock McClarty, who lives in Mount Macedon, has read the book and says all the connections are there if you look for them. What are some of the connections you've made?
Well, you can recognise a lot of the family names that Miss Lindsay used. It's possible to recognise the horse and vehicle used in the book as the type of vehicle that Coggers would have had for hire at the time, and it's possible to recognise the tracks they used from the book.
What about Lakeview? You've got a theory about Lakeview. What's that?
Well, the description in the book fits a property that's known locally as McGregor's, and part of the McGregor's garden there were 3 man-made lakes.
The story of Hanging Rock is not just a mystery story. It's the story of an English tradition transplanted to the other end of the world. Mrs. Appleyard runs a replica of an English girls' school amidst this harsh environment. All the rules and fashions guarding this way of life apply here, even in the height of an Australian summer. The emphasis on traditions of dress, behaviour and etiquette was rigid. As rigid as the headmistress, Mrs. Appleyard, must have appeared to the girls in her charge. Rachel Roberts came to Australia especially to take the role of the headmistress. What type of woman is Mrs. Appleyard?
Well, odd though it may seem, I sort of have grown to rather like her, though I don't think she's a likeable person. But I think I admire her rather indomitable spirit. And I think she's misguided, but her enthusiasm for the school and the things that she, and I expect a lot of headmistresses emphasized in those days, i.e. deportment, which I don't have, and English literature and romantic poets, and how to speak well, how to behave correctly, was the norm of the time, wasn't it?
Good morning, girls.
Good morning, Mrs. Appleyard.
Well, young ladies, we are indeed fortunate in the weather for our picnic to Hanging Rock. I have instructed Mademoiselle that as the day is likely to be warm, you may remove your gloves once the drag has passed through Wood End. You will partake of luncheon at the picnic grounds near the rock. Once again, let me remind you, the rock itself is extremely dangerous, and you are therefore forbidden any tomboy foolishness in the matter of exploration, even on the lower slopes. I also wish to remind you that the vicinity is renowned for its venomous snakes and poisonous ants of various species. It is, however, a geological marvel on which you will be required to write a brief essay on Monday morning. That is all. Have a pleasant day, and try to behave yourselves in a manner to bring credit to the college.
Do you think she could have only been an Englishwoman?
Well, let's think. Well, I'm not an Englishwoman. I'm a Welshwoman. You're an Australian woman. Yes, probably. That sort of holding in of the every emotion, and you never see her smile once.
Excuse me, Mademoiselle.
Yes, Marion.
I should like to make a few measurements at the base of the rock if we have time, with Miranda and Irma.
Oh, please, Mademoiselle. We'll be back long before tea.
Eh bien, allez.
May I come too, please?
So long as you don't complain.
I won't, I promise. And don't worry about us, Mademoiselle. We shall only be gone a little while.
These girls, in their corsets and camisoles, their black stockings and boots, were as unsuitably dressed for midsummer conditions as they were ill-prepared for the harsh realities of the Australian bush.
The rock is of volcanic origin, obviously, and there would be a lot of caves. It sounds hollow in places if you stamp on it. So this is a possibility that they may have fallen into a cave and only one girl got out.
We'll have to be gone soon. Dark before we get back.
I'm staying here.
You what?
I'm staying here.
Here? On the rock?
Yes.
Well, what the hell for? You're mad.
Yes, perhaps I am. But I'm still staying because somebody has to. Just because you lot are Australians.
You're a funny bugger.
Well, what the hell am I going to tell them when I get back there without you? You can tell them what you like.
Dominic, the part you play, that of Michael the Englishman, and of course you are English, would you come to a place like Hanging Rock and offer to stay overnight in those surroundings?
I don't think it's quite fair to put it like that without first saying why Michael, in fact, stays, because there is, for Michael anyway, quite a serious reason why he stays, which is this great infatuation he has for the girl Miranda.
Would you, in this present day and age, all this happened in 1900, would you, for instance, become so infatuated by somebody that you would offer to go and search for them in such tough surroundings, and in fact stay overnight in the dark?
Yeah, I think you know, probably sort of being English and not knowing about Hanging Rock or the bush or anything like that would probably leave me open to that idea. But then I suppose you could say that probably the first Australian pioneers or people who didn't know about the bush would have done the same and probably ended up like Michael. He is just ignorant rather than unbelievable. I can see myself infatuated enough to charge up there, and I'll probably end up like Michael.
I suppose the greatest problem was handling the two major atmospheres of the book. That is, a period story, and yet a story which is quite contemporary. Such a strange disappearance could occur this weekend somewhere. It could occur next year. It probably occurred in 1400, let alone 1900. So while creating the atmosphere of 1900, at the same time I had to make you feel that slight unease in your theatre seat, that you might walk out of this theatre the night you see the film, or you might put the milk bottles out the night you're looking at this television program, and something might happen, something inexplicable that will alter the pattern of your life. And I feel these things are out there in the air, and this particular story is about one of those incidents. I think one of the other major production problems was to pay attention to the smallest detail, because if the smallest detail isn't right, then the bigger details won't be right. So even if props weren't seen, my art department knew I wanted everything to be authentic and to be real.
Hal and Jim, as producers, what sort of extra challenge does Picnic at Hanging Rock present to you as a period film set in 1900?
I think the most exciting challenge is to recreate the atmosphere in terms of the locations and the properties, the art direction, and the vehicles, the horses. We explored all around Australia to try and find the correct dressings and elements.
Because Australia is such a relatively newly settled country, do you think it's a much more difficult proposition to make a film in period here than, for instance, in Europe?
It's really quite hard. However, in South Australia, it's easier than other states because, for some reason, South Australians appear to care more about their past and their heritage than perhaps a faster-moving city like Sydney, where the people tend to tear down anything that's older than 10 years old. But we have succeeded in South Australia to get some beautiful locations. I think, as anybody seeing the film will notice, there's some stunning buildings in South Australia, and particularly the building we used for the college is absolutely marvellous and in beautiful condition.
It was like a house full of ghosts. The portraits were on the walls, the chairs they'd sat in were there, all in period, or nearly all. And this was a tremendous asset to the film.
Martindale Hall was completed in 1879 at the cost of £36,000, a very princely sum for those days. The story of the building of the house is a romantic tale in itself. Mr. Edmund Bowman, who owned the land, was in love with a certain English lady who apparently was not keen on coming out to pioneering discomforts and who lived in a Georgian mansion herself in England. So to induce this fair lady to emigrate, Mr. Bowman said he would build a replica of her home in England, and this resulted in Martindale Hall. The lady didn't come after all.
Rachel Roberts, what effect does this house have on you?
Well, I think it's extraordinary. I've never been to Australia before. I think it's a beautiful country. And the drive out from the motel where I'm staying outside Clare, through all that rolling countryside, and then suddenly to see this, well, it's beautifully built. It's a stunning reaction when I first saw it, when Peter Weir, the director, drove me out the day before I started filming. I really couldn't believe my eyes, you know. I can't honestly say that I find it a happy house. I find it slightly oppressive inside. It's the atmospherics, certainly. The purposes of your film, I think it's an excellent choice.
It's an interesting era. Interesting in this country particularly is most of our historical films and television plays have been concerned with bushrangers, pioneers, and the gold rush. This is about none of those. This is principally about an elite which is gone. The kind of wealthy young ladies that attended Appleyard College are no more. In fact, it was a great problem in casting to find young girls with enough elegance and style and breeding to be able to reproduce the type of person that was at the school in 1900.
A minority of the pupils at the school could not, however, bear the description elite. Sarah Wayborn, for instance, depended entirely on her rather forgetful guardian for her continued existence in this privileged atmosphere.
Tell Mademoiselle I don't want it. Thank you.
But you must eat. You'll get sick if you don't.
I'm sick already. If I eat that, I'll be even sicker.
Nonsense. Now, come on, Miss Sarah.
Do you know what, Minnie?
No, what?
I was in an orphanage once.
Were you, Sarah?
I had a brother then, called Bertie. I told the matron I wanted to be a lady circus rider on a white horse in a spangled dress. She was afraid I'd run away, so she shaved my head. I bit her arm. It bled. So she painted my head with gentian violet.
How true do you think the story of the picnic is?
It's always been true for me. Perhaps I view things a little differently, but the line between truth and fiction is a very blurred line for me. It feels real, it feels true. I know certain aspects of it are true, quite true, but I've never doubted it for a minute. If it didn't happen exactly that way, it might next week.
Nobody's quite sure whether the story is true or false. What would you like to think?
That it's true. Judging from the letters in the novel, which I read, you kindly gave me to read, where it says the Melbourne papers of 1913, I believe. I like to think that the novelist took some genuine journalistic copy. I like movies like that are based on reality. I really do.
I'm afraid that everyone who's enjoyed my book or read it, they will really have to work it out for themselves. I know it's a mystery, but I hope it's a bit more than a whodunit. Not that I could write a whodunit, but I feel that this is something, that it was a sort of a mysterious thing that could have only happened where I write of it, and I can't really and wouldn't wish to try and explain it any more fully than that. You'll all have to work out what you think is truth for you, because truth is everything to me.